Okay.
You got it.
All right, welcome to the Sixth-Time Regional Planning Board meeting being held on Wednesday, May 8th at 6:32 is when we're opening the meeting. Greg, if you could do, this meeting is being recorded. And Greg, or I could do a roll call vote with the first names and just say aye. Greg?
Here. Aye.
Here, and Karen?
Aye.
Says Tom, but we know it's Pat.
Yeah. Here.
Renee?
Here.
Dorinda?
Here.
Deb? Loomer?
Here.
Raina?
I'm present.
And Bill?
Here, yes.
And then we also have Cliff joining us.
Yep, here.
All right, and okay, so we have a quorum. Perfect. And so I anticipate this is going to be a fairly quick meeting. There's a few business items that we have to handle. Was there any other announcements that we need to make? I guess I'm supposed to, let me just say that the meeting is being recorded and that it's a hybrid meeting. No one seems to be in the audience yet, but in the event that we did have technical problems, we would have to try to get those fixed. And if unable to, we'd have to post the meeting and then continue with the agenda. But we're not anticipating that. So we have so was there anything else, Greg? We good there?
I couldn't hear the last part of what you said. Is there anything
Were
else?
there any other announcements or anything you need to make?
No, that's good.
Okay. So we have two sets of minutes, and what I'd like to do is review the February 29th for any corrections or amendments, review the March 14th minutes that again for any revisions or amendments, and then have one motion that would approve both of those minutes as amended. All right, so can we look at the February 29th minutes? Does anyone have any edits?
Can I ask if Dorinda, did I get your name right? Because I think I didn't check. So
I can't remember on that one.
because I kind of go back to the old ones and just do the boilerplate at the top, so it may not have changed.
It's fine either way. You get both last names in there, it's fine.
I emailed you about that this morning, Greg.
Oh, yeah. Can I count on you, Karen? Thank you.
Just remember, it's alphabetical.
Yes, no, I know. I go back to the previous one and then I make a copy and I don't think I change the name. So I'm gonna go do it right now.
That's a good way to remember it, Karen. Leave it to you to come up with something clever. So I don't hear anyone. I only had one change, Greg, and that's on the website with Dorinda. That we voted to the very last, there was a request for members to self-nominate to the PR website. Just add its subcommittee. It's a subcommittee of the board. And that's it.
Okay. Yeah, I will go back and do that. Sorry, I was just changing.
Yep. Okay, and then any other? Okay, now looking at the March 19th minutes. I didn't see anything on these. Did anyone have any revisions or anything on this one? Okay, so hearing none, I would entertain a motion to approve the February 29th minutes and the March 19th minutes as amended.
I'll move that, Bill.
Bill, second?
I'll second it.
All right, roll call vote. Greg?
Yes.
And Alan? Yes, and I was also present. Karen?
Yes.
Pat?
Yes.
Renee?
So I wasn't present. Do I need to abstain?
If you reviewed them, no, you can. If you reviewed them, you can vote to support them. It's that you have knowledge of them. You reviewed them. So was that a yes?
Yes.
Good. Dorinda?
Yes.
Deb? You're on mute. And Renee, you're on mute.
I said yes.
Okay, thank you. And Deb said yes. Okay, and Bill?
Yes.
Cliff?
Yes.
and Steve.
Yes.
Perfect. All right, so those are done. The next item on this agenda is the update from the District Regional Agreement Subcommittee. Shell is not here. She is involved in something else. She's planning on joining us later. So let me just do this. Let's just, if we could, we'll pass over that. When she joins us, we can have her do a review as chair. She's going to miss the May 22nd meeting. And so Chris, who's the vice chair, will be carrying forward anything to the planning board if we have a meeting after that. So to keep you in the loop, there was the minutes from their meeting that they held on April 3rd. So hopefully, just review those as we go so that you're aware of what's going on. The other thing is I sent out an invitation to the Irving because obviously they have quite an interest in what's happening here as non-voting members. And I did have a response from them. So when we get down to the nomination, they were very appreciative and plan on alternating. And I didn't realize this, Bill, but both of them, I guess, are on the Gil Montague District Committee as non-voting members. Is that accurate?
Only Jackie.
Oh, okay. So you have representatives from, who's the other one?
No, we only have one.
Oh, all right, thank you. My misunderstanding, thank you.
Well, Jackie has come forward to us, to the Gil Montague, to also ask the impact of if there was an agreement. I had no advice for her then, but clearly I think Irving has been engaged in this nearly from the beginning at our invitation. So Jackie is not totally up to speed. Maybe Jennifer could fill her in on the early stages. But
yeah.
in any event, it's going forward.
Yeah, and I appreciate that. There's more that I'll get into the weeds, not at this meeting, but I was not aware that you had a tuition agreement that had a 5-year basically rolling clause, and it would be basically a 6-year notice if that were to change. And so that will be part of the discussion as we go forward in looking at a regional agreement. And I'll lean on Jay and Mac to talk about that as well. I also want to have a conversation with Joanne to get a little more in the weeds so I have a better understanding of that process. But I see this as we learn as we go, and we'll see how best that might get resolved if that's possible in this process.
Right.
So we'll come back to this when we get Michelle here. Going on to Dorinda, did some really great work working with Alexander, the consultant in the Berkshires, and we had a meeting with her and Greg, and just to had her toe in the water of what's been going on, and she very much was looking forward now to bringing it to the full planning board to review and then get some input. So if the controls, Greg can go to her to put up what she needs to share.
Yep.
Nope, she's got it.
Yeah.
Perfect.
All right, so this is the draft. These are probably, these are the plan sections at the top, the main page, membership, the frequently asked questions, minutes, reports, and then contact. We can rearrange any of those if we want one to come first. What struck me when looking at this was I would prefer to have at least on the main page pictures from our districts, but I wasn't sure how we would go about obtaining those because I don't think that the schools will necessarily want to share with us. Like some individuals may be open to that, or like PTO organizations or different things, but I'm not, that's something I'm really looking for input on. Like, how do you think? Because you know, we want people to feel like comfortable with this website, and it feels like these pictures are very lovely, but they seem like somewhere else, like California or something. And it's all like bright and sunny and I don't know this place, but that struck me. So that's something to think about. So the front page so far, because we don't have, you know, we're sort of early in the process, is just an introductory paragraph. It would be helpful at some point to work with someone on the exact language that we want here. It's easy to edit. Just the news is just a few like things that I thought of. We can have other things on the front page, like a picture of the school buildings or something else that is sort of like engaging and feels personal. It links to the Facebook and it links to the FAQ and the reports, because those are sort of the most important things that we want to get to people.
Mhm. Looks good.
Does look good.
Yeah. Yeah, it looks really slick. She did a good job.
I would agree that having pictures from our own district would definitely be the way to go, and to make sure that there were some from each of the schools possibly, just to be equitable and that sort of stuff. When I went around, I'm trying to think, when 3 years ago, I don't know, and took some pictures, they were all without students. So I guess I would the superintendents to say, what's the policy if you're going, for instance, a softball team, it's understood that's a public event. So if your child's picture appears in the newspaper, they don't need permission. So taking a picture at a public event, and they still might not feel comfortable with that. But I would think that would be, you know, whatever they felt was necessary to keep the parents happy if their child was involved or whatever.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
go ahead.
I think we have to be careful, because there's a lot of parents or a lot of kids who's under some kind of a legal,
Right.
we need to make sure that that's okay. I know when we were taking pictures for Northfield's 350th, we had a disclosure page. Whenever we had a child's picture, we just had a parent sign it, just to make sure we were okay. And maybe that's a way to get her. I guess I'd rather be safe than sorry.
Mhm.
Yeah. And
Yes.
Raina's hand is up. Usually the practice is they reach out to the parents and they get permission from the parents, but we may want to actually do that reach out to the parent and say, here's the picture. We could even send them the picture so they could see it and see if they agree. But we'll have to be proactive in that. Raina, I don't see you anymore. I know you're, yeah, there you are.
Yeah, I'm still here. Yeah, I would say I'd be very cautious about having any pictures of students on a website. I think even the schools don't typically, you know, a lot of schools don't, especially elementary level, don't typically include pictures of students. But yeah, I think the grounds, the buildings, I think that would be sufficient. I know it's more fun to look at kids, but yeah, I just feel like it's a lot to ask of families. It takes a lot more work as well.
Yeah, you know, that makes me think, Raina, I'm wondering if we asked the question, Dorinda, to the website designer you were working with, that to be safe, were these generic pictures? Because parents looking at them, the only one that's going to know that is the parent of the kid there. You know, I'm wondering if she actually just took, you know, stock photos and inserted them. And these aren't kids that are in either of those 8 towns as well. Do we know that? We
know that, yeah. But that being said, I think what we're trying to sell, you know, I say sell, but I mean, at some point we have to, if we get this agreement together, we at least have to like
market it,
engage people in a vision, right? Not sell, but engage people in a vision. And the vision is, you know, we can field a soccer team. The vision is like, we can have an after school club. We can, you know, there's enough kids to run 2 sections of biology or whatever it is. So like, those kind of things, like the back of soccer players or back of people's heads, like, you know, maybe we'll find a stock photo. Maybe we can figure out a way to do those. I know Pioneer does have pictures on their website, like of students of the school. So, and you know, we take pictures at the PTOs and just like send them to the principal for like you know, to say, is there anyone on the no photography list in this picture? So those things are possible. I don't, you know, my kids are in the elementary school, and I feel like it's really important to get some of the secondary schools. So
Yes.
because that's really, you know, the elementary schools are going to be as is.
I mean, I would.
Right.
Yeah,
I was going to say, you don't want elementary school pictures on this because it will really confuse parents. That would be a big mistake. They'll think the elementary schools are being regionalized.
Yeah, and I think for this, you know, for our site, we, you know, I will just echo that we really do have to be very careful about the students that we put up, just to make sure that the parents are okay with it, because this is more, you know, this is a politically charged issue that, you know, that the school district putting up a kid in, you know, in a game or something is not. So, you know, we do just really be careful.
Can we make a note that Deb Pote joined us at 6:48? All
I was
right.
going to say, going to, for instance, your student government club, you know, so maybe not necessarily going into a classroom, but having pictures of students who are more in a public atmosphere, the school play, or something like that. And I would kind of disagree, because I think this is to just so the facilities are important, but I think a human face is a human face, and you're drawn to the face, not the facility. So if there's a strength of Pioneer that they would like to, you know, go, we'll, you know, our student, once again, I'm going to not a classroom necessarily, but an activity that's a more public, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I would agree that, I mean, they put their videos of their sports up on YouTube. So, I mean, that's all public.
Yeah.
So, I mean, things like team activities, you can even do action shots of, you know, kids walking in the hall where it's a little, you know, where the kids are a little bit blurry because they're in motion, but you get the idea that, you know, you're in that school. There's lots of things you can do that keeps them sort of anonymous, but also puts the, you know, sort of puts the students in the frame.
I guess I would prefer, I would think, stock pictures, because I just can't, even if it is in the public view, I think there are going to be people who are going to feel like, I don't endorse this idea of regionalizing, and I don't like the fact that these pictures of my student who is on the baseball team is being used in a way to promote something. I just think I would just want to be, I wouldn't want to have that kind of potential risk, and people get hot about something that the website has nothing specifically it's a distraction. I wouldn't want people to be distracted from the content. I just think stock photos are the best way to go.
Deb, do you still feel that way if we took the initiative to call the parent, say, you know, we took a picture?
I just think it's why do all that hard work? And I do think parents will see this as a political thing. And I wouldn't want to get the weeds with all of that. Yes, it would be charming to see, you know, Pioneer's basketball team, the boys basketball team, for example, you know, very strong basketball team. It'd be nice to see them. And I wouldn't want to have any part of that, because I really think this is going to be such a hard topic for people that I think people will find any way for the situation to become negative. And I don't want that. I want people to access the website in a way that's just pure. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, okay. Understood. Thank you. Does anyone else? Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry. I just think, you know, but we don't want it to be completely othered and completely removed. Like, there's got to be some way in which that we personalize it, that it doesn't just feel like a consultant is saying this is a good reason for money or whatever, like that. I don't know. So however we do that, maybe we start just with like pictures of New England in the buildings or something, or like a generic soccer team, and maybe that's fine. But I'm just like concerned that um I don't want to prevent people from like envisioning the reality or like knowing what good stuff exists at the other school, because they might just not know.
So can we come back and revisit that?
Yeah.
Because I'm totally torn. And I need to think about it some more. I think Deb makes some good points. You make some good points. I guess my concern is that as we've done our research, we have found that there are significant benefits for the kids. And that maybe there's a lot of, stock pictures in there, but with the right tone or whatever, it might be nice to show off something that was really exciting, generic at Pioneer or at Gil Montague. So I don't know. We've got time to revisit that and maybe even replace some of the stock pictures at a later date, but kind of holding positions. Raina, you have your hand up, and I can't see, so that if you have it up and I can't see it, please just speak up.
Yeah, just a thought occurred to me, like, why not go totally visionary and have someone draw have some, I mean, if someone has some artistic talent who can draw what a classroom might look like or what a sports team might look like, have artwork on there instead of pictures. It's just a thought. So.
Greg?
Yeah, I know. I'll share something that, I mean, this is kind of what I meant, where you can actually get inside the building and you can take a picture similar to this. I'm going to stop your sharing really quickly and just do a quick sharing of this. So you can see, it's like, it's an action shot where the students are blurred, but you'll know, like that you're actually in one of these buildings, like the parents and the students, but you can't recognize any faces. It makes it a little bit more personal. Just a thought. I mean, those are some of your options that you can do.
Yeah, the Y's taken a lot of nice pictures of the pool at Turner's since they've been using it.
Yeah. Pat, your hand's up.
Yeah, I was thinking about what someone had spoken about a couple minutes ago. I think if you had a stock picture of, say, a basketball team, and you're a mom who's very proud of her kid who played basketball, and you looked on this basketball picture and there was nobody on it, I think that would be as adverse as the opposite. So I think, like you said, there's a little bit of thought we need to put into it, but
yeah,
there's both ways.
Okay, Pat?
I just said, I'll put my hand down.
Oh, okay.
Tom, you have something, Tom?
Yeah,
Karen does.
Yeah, I was just wondering if pictures that have appeared in the recorder are in the domain of public, and if something like our solar viewing event that we had at Pioneer that showed some of the participants could be used.
Yeah, and that's why I'm torn, because I agree with that. But on the other hand, I still resonate with some of the things Deb said about, it's going to be a lot of discussion on it. And someone could view, wait a minute, I see you use my kid's picture in this, on this team. And I'm feeling like you're saying that, those kids in the picture, my family endorses this, what you're doing. So I got to think about that some more, because I think that we can get creative, and perhaps some of the pictures can be of kids that the parents are, yeah, I would very much like you to share that. I have no problem. I support what you're doing or something, but not spend like enormous amounts of time trying to vet every single picture. So I don't know. There must be a middle ground. I haven't heard from Bill, and I'm curious on that. Again, I can't see where he's on a school committee.
No, I'm sitting here listening, and
Mhm.
I think it might be just as good to have pictures of the two campuses and keep the students out of it. On the other hand, I do think that it would be easy enough to have a picture, whether it's in focus or otherwise, and contact and then learn who the parents are and contact them and get their okay, or if they don't okay it, then you scratch it.
Mhm.
But otherwise, I just think it's an ongoing discussion, and I certainly don't have an answer that would please everybody.
Yeah, all right, thank you. And again, I can't,
Alan, I have a couple of thoughts.
yeah, thanks, whoever that is.
Yeah,
Who's that?
Steve.
Ah, thank you.
Steve. Yeah, I think maybe having some photographs of the school buildings, but then do something like what Greg was saying with like some hallways in the buildings with some blurred visions, but then also maybe having some shots in a classroom from the back of the classroom. So you get the teacher in the classroom and you get the shot of the classroom, but not necessarily the faces of the kids in the classroom. So you don't have that problem with identifying factors of who the kids are. So I think maybe that it's kind of trying to hit the middle ground there a bit.
Yeah, and that idea about cartoonish kind of things with a good drawer, that strikes me as interesting as having a kind of a diversified presentation. So back at the task at hand, so we'll have that on hold a little bit and I guess do some placeholder stock pictures. So Dorinda, we're back to you.
Yep, so this is the frequently asked questions, and you can expand each section to read about whatever you want to read about. And we should, do an edit pass on this before we make it super public. We'll probably do like a soft launch, like get it live, and then, we can edit as we go. I also just thought maybe we could, this middle ground here, we could like have an actual sort of like modeling session, right? Like have 5 kids that want to be involved and, they're in their softball uniforms or you put them in a classroom or whatever. Like we could just make it actually, we just hire them for
A screen
an
cap.
hour.
Yeah.
That's cool. That's a very interesting thought too. Can you go back to, you had this, so you mentioned very quickly, under those questions and answers, we have responses.
Mhm.
How do we, I don't want to say, do we have a consensus in terms of these are answers we've already given? How do you envision that happening do we launch it just within ourselves to go through it and read it and react and give you input? What do you think?
That makes sense. And this is the FAQ. I just copy pasted it and I edited only a couple things that, like I took out one question that didn't have a section to go in, and I might have tweaked a little bit of language if it was sort of like something that was going to happen, but then that thing happened, so now I just might have changed language a little bit.
So
but mostly it's exactly the same that you already sent out.
Okay, so do you want to have this live within just us and then get some feedback on this, or how do you want to move forward?
Whatever everybody's comfortable with, essentially. I think I want to, sort of give her preliminary feedback from everybody. I'm going to do the minutes page I need to work on with Greg because it's kind of a mess. But I can talk to Greg about that. But besides that, it's pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
Reports. We've sorted it by type of reports. So some of these just need to be sorted, which I can also talk to Greg about. See, this is a generic picture, but it's like, okay, because it's high school and there's a field. We have those.
And it's the Pioneer colors.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, nice. Yeah.
I've already decided we should be the Blue Hawks so they can, you know, because there's already a blue track, so it'd be too much to repaint it and just keep the Hawks, right? Not really. Yeah, I'm just kidding. And then yeah, contact page, like this is a fine generic picture, right? Like that makes sense. So,
Yeah.
but I just want to personalize it a little bit, at least on the welcome page. Like here's a different, I forget, like the sort of Mohawk area, they're doing, I think, resource sharing instead. And so their website has pictures from the district, but it's less controversial because they're intentionally resource sharing.
Mhm. That's nice. Good work.
All right. That's it.
What are folks thinking about, or what are you thinking, Dorinda, about a target date? So we have like a soft idea of when we'd like to make this live. What are you thinking?
I think I think, you know, it can really be any time because nobody's going to go to it until we let them know it exists. So I think
Okay.
as soon as we sort of get the minutes page together, and I can give everybody, I'll just make sure that she's okay with me giving everybody the password to this, and then I can
Yeah.
just share it.
So what we'll want to do, I think, is have the PR committee write a nice article for the paper, and that goes over, this is being launched. And I'd like to actually do something on the radio. I don't know if it was WAAI or on a radio station where they were doing something at the Gil Montague School. They were interviewing a principal or somebody that was talking about one of their programs. And it was really powerful. And I mean, it kept my attention. And I thought we need to probably use the radio, not in an ad, but in an interview kind of format, and to talk about what we're doing and what's happening at this point. So, Deb?
Ellen, I was just going to say, I think the most critical part of that is actually the question and answer, because we need to make sure that the answer we gave is really the answer. And so I'm not concerned about the minutes. They're all voted on. So the minutes are the minutes, the reports are the reports. But I think that question and answer is going to be the place where you could stumble. And going back to what Deb said, all you need is one mistake somewhere for someone to go, you lied. That wasn't the answer you gave on the website. So that to me is the most critical piece of the entire website, is really the question and answer. Just a thought.
Mm-hmm. Well taken. Which I guess is why I kind of mentioned, do we send it out? We all read it and see if we're comfortable with how we're answering the question, and then provide feedback if there needs to be any adjustments. Deb, your hand's
I
up.
was going to say, and not get hung up the language of it all, because I think we don't want to rewrite it all, but what we need to make sure is just that the facts are right. And if someone says the fact is schools will open at 7 a.m. in the morning, and someone says, well, but it would sound better if we said on sunny days at 7 a.m. we will arrive at school. That sort of thing. So I think for me, it's, what the facts are, and I'm going to have to trust whoever writes it, that it's appropriately worded or whatever. Because we could go forever on every question and every word be dissected, unless there's a huge grammatical error, or, we put there is THEIR instead of, Y apostrophe. So that's all.
Yeah. So Dorinda, I will commit to you that I will read each question and answer and provide my feedback in terms of if I, think it's pretty accurate. If it's not, then you can we can research it some more and make it more accurate. Or if we're still unclear, bring it back to this group to finalize the answer. Okay. And if anyone else would want to volunteer to do that, I welcome that. You can self-nominate yourself and just do it. Caller.
Comments. I'd be happy to look too.
Oh, good. Thank you. Thank you, Deb.
And it's
Um,
already 99% your language because I only, changed it
Yeah.
very tiny.
Yeah. Does anyone have any additional questions, comments, concerns for Dorinda as she goes forward? And I think, have you had a chance, Dorinda, to reach out to Chris to see, does he want to get involved and work side by side with you?
No, I haven't yet. No.
Okay. All right. If you had said yes, then I was going to suggest if there was one other person, that we create a subcommittee, that's our web design subcommittee to do something, but nope, we'll move on. What's the next item? So there are no other comments at this point? All right. Let's see, so we're at the appointments. So we have the following people. Second to go back to my. So I think at the, when I was looking at the minutes, we did appoint Jessica Foote at our meeting. So we don't have to do that one. But we have Catherine D'Amato from Leiden. We have to officially do Deb Pote. She, I think, said, yep, she would like to do that. There's Jennifer Eichhorn, who has been with us. I'm saying it wrong.
That was right. I'm
Oh.
not sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think it's
And-
Di Matteo, I think. But
No, it's DiMatteo.
Damadio.
Okay,
Mhm.
DiMatteo, okay. And then there was, as Bill was pointing out, you say it, Jackie Bowden? And then as non-voting members, they would be the two non-voting members. So I think that rounds us out.
Ginger Robinson.
Oh, thank you. You're right. Thank you. And I met her at the conference at Northampton, or in person, met her last Saturday for select boards and so forth. Thank you for that.
Yeah, she's chair of the finance committee in Leiden.
Thank you. So we have three from Leiden. We have Michelle, who's on the planning board as a representative, and then we have these two. Okay. Anyone else I missed? Thank you so much for that. All right, so I'll entertain a motion to appoint those members as I just outlined.
So moved.
And a second?
I'll second it, Bill.
All right, thank you, Bill. I think that rounds us out, so I'm gonna do a call. Greg,
Yes.
Alan, Genevieve, yes, Karen,
Yes,
Pat, Tom.
Yes. My computer's down. What can I?
Renee,
Yeah, yes.
Dorinda, thank you, Dorinda,
Yes.
and Deb Loomer. That was a yes. I don't know why we can't hear you.
Yes.
Thank you. Bill,
Yes.
Raina,
Yes.
Cliff,
Yes.
Deb Pote.
Can I vote for myself?
Well, absolutely.
Yes.
We hope so. It's like going to the polls if you're running for office. I hope you vote for yourself. And then Steve.
Yes.
All right, so let the record show, Greg, that it was unanimous. And so now we have our full membership. And that concludes our business, but let me just go back. Apparently, Michelle hasn't had a chance to join us. So let me just give a quick update. So the subcommittee met, and Jay did a really good job reviewing a couple parts. So the way he did this, they're going to meet each month. But what he did was he took the first two sections of a regional agreement and he reviewed potential options that the subcommittee should look at. We made no decisions, but he, for example, for school committee representation, he put out 5 scenarios of how you could elect a school committee. And then there was some good discussion around comments and concerns about some of the ways to do that. Who was the member? One of the members, I think from Montague, why am I drawing a blank? Brought up a really good point because of your form of government and how you, elect people now, how that would work for a regional agreement. So we're going to come back to
I
the,
brought that up, Alan. It's because of our representative town meeting. That's gonna
Thank you.
kind of change things because we have to do a referendum vote of our constituents.
yeah, and I want to, if you could send in me some information, because I wanted to have a conversation with you so I fully understood what you're saying. But I was glad you brought that up. I know Jay didn't want to answer my question when I asked it, but I'm so glad I did because you added new information to that discussion, which I hadn't
Yeah.
thought about.
It's actually really simple. It's just that we can't vote for ourselves. We have to actually put a ballot question out for our constituents to vote on. So we basically have to have a ballot vote, and then the will of the people tells us how to vote.
I don't know if that's true.
It depends on what it is. Something like that we probably do.
Hmm.
Yeah, because
We'd
it's
have-
for the school committee. Yeah.
Right, but you're also talking about a regional agreement, which is a big change financially.
One of the options that got a little play time was can't remember, there were 2 of them, but one of them was that you have 2 from every town, and then you have an at-large election, so the names would appear on the ballot in every town for, I think it was 3 of the positions, Cliff, and then all the towns would vote on that.
Right, that's for the electing school committee members, but when it comes to like ratifying like financial things for the school, it's done through the town floor through representative town meeting. And right now the town has a compact with the schools where it's guaranteed 48% of our budget. So that compact has to be changed at town meeting when the school agreement gets changed. Because we have a financial agreement with the school of a minimum funding level. So that's going to have to be addressed.
I think some of this, I mean, we have examples of the 8 towns voting in this, and I'm sure some of their governments are representative. So I'm sure we can, and it looked like they went to sort of townwide referendums and votes. So my guess is there is a pathway to do it on one day and not necessarily have to, go through a 2-step process. But we should check with our consultants and maybe even with DESE about how regionalizations have happened in the past and how they conducted their votes. Whether it was, I'm just thinking of like, was it Peabody and Air? When they regionalized or something. So, we have places we can go to find that out.
And Cliff, I don't know who, and Dermot, I don't know who we would who would be the one to make a call, but that would be a good one for an attorney for the town to
I would
talk
say
about what
probably
the options
contact
would.
Montague's town council, and they could probably give you an interpretation of how it should be done. I mean, that's what we do when we have questions about the town meeting. We go to town council and get their interpretation on the matter.
And see what options there are.
Yeah, they'll either say, yep, you can do it this way, or no, you should really do X, Y, and Z before, you do this.
If we could get, that'd be good to know going into our next meeting, May 22nd, if possible, but we can see. But like you said, there's two issues, or it's separated, is the financial one. So I don't know as much that I'm talking about, so I will be quiet now. Bill.
Yeah, one way of looking at that is Montague has promised to commit 48% of their budget to education, and that wouldn't necessarily change with a change in a regional agreement. Montague is willing to support education to that extent. That's how I would look at it. So I don't think you're looking for a monetary increase in Montague, you may look at a decrease, in fact, but it's not going to fall on Montague to provide any more than what they already are. So you don't have
Yeah.
a conflict there, is what I'm saying. It's just
So-
a question of who was the recipient of the agreement, and it would have to be the new district.
Right,
So-
might just be a change of language.
Yeah, so Bill, though, to that point now, calling Karen, I think her hand's up. Bill, when we had the assessments done, by, the Abrams group, the Montague assessment in the 10 ways that we did that, was that up to the level of 48%, or did we just not?
That's
Montague,
make that
Montague
analysis?
gives us a dollar value, which is based on the 48%. And then Gil is in the position of making up the balance.
yeah.
Um,
It's not a straightforward kind of thing because they're willing to give 48% of their town budget to the school system. That's what it is. So, you know, in terms of the assessments, and how they play out, it's going to have to be in comparison to whatever the budget is that year. So, you know, it's going to be one of those things where it's going to be calculated in the moment. But also, you know, there were plenty of scenarios where the Montague assessment went down. So, you know, that would actually leave them headroom.
Okay, so since
which is
these,
what I just said.
Yeah.
essentially.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right, like this year, for
was agreeing with
example,
you,
our
Bill.
total operating budget was like 24 some odd million, and our contribution to the school was 12.2 million, or somewhere in there.
Yeah.
So
All
it
right,
was
so it's-
roughly 50% of our operating budget.
so there's two issues here. We don't have to deal with this particular one. It's going to be further down on the regional agreement. So we'll be picking this up later. Now it's just about how do they get on board. Karen?
Okay, well, just one more point about this. Some of our smaller towns spend more than 50% of their budgets on education. And so I don't think it would fly very well if a larger town with businesses, etc., is pledging less of a percentage. So
That's
I'm
not-
saying
Karen, that's
We
There's
not.
gonna-
already live
Karen,
with
that's
it,
a town by
Karen.
town by town basis. It doesn't, that doesn't really have any bearing. There's no, you know, town by town. No, it's true, Karen. It's just, that's not how it works. You can't say to everybody, okay, everybody has to agree to pay 48% of their budget, because everybody's tax levy is different, everybody's capacity is different. So, you know, that's a decision Montague made. I think Gil pays more than that. So, you know, it's
We
not.
do.
Yeah, we do. So it's not like we would go, oh, geez, we're only paying 48% of our budget. No.
Yeah,
No,
I think
no, no,
local
no.
pays less.
I think the concern is that we hear a lot in our smaller towns about what percentage goes to the education already. So
That's right,
it-
you do, and you have to stand up to it.
we
Right.
do.
Well, and it's also, but remember that it's in relation to the operating budget, which has, each town has different types of services, right? Some offer more,
Yeah.
services, some offer less. So, you know,
And
that's
we
what
would
you're looking.
certainly like to offer more services, but
So this is a good discussion, but it's going to actually come up again when we get to this part of the regional agreement. So right now, we're focused on
Yeah.
how people get elected, but I appreciate the sharing. It will give me some thought as we approach that topic. So I think we've concluded most of the items. That's enough of a review of what they'll be doing. They'll be going on to the next section after they address this, and then we'll give you periodic updates as we go. And Michelle won't be there. As I said, Chris will do the next one. I put down as a placeholder because things are going to get really busy, not like they already are, as a June 12th meeting as a potential date. I was hoping we could sort of pencil that in. And then I don't know how it competes with graduations or other things going on. And I have my calendar and I have it in front of me at this moment. Does that seem to work potentially for folks as a placeholder? I guess Bill and Rainer, I would ask you, do you have graduations on those dates, on that particular date?
No,
What's the date again?
June 12th,
I didn't know.
Wednesday?
I don't think so.
And then
Graduation.
any town meetings that are happening? Some are late,
June
so,
3rd.
The day before.
okay,
We're good.
Graduation
right.
usually earlier than that.
okay.
Mhm.
We just had ours. Okay, so if people are okay with that, I will have that penciled in. Dorinda, your hand's up. Is there a problem with that date?
Well, I was just saying, you know, I think if the subcommittee is meeting once a month, like, do we need to have a meeting every time they have a meeting, or do we want to have a meeting every other meeting? So like there would only be one of them before we met. So I'm saying we might want to alternate. For
Right,
like
so
bigger
I'm,
up.
yeah, I'm thinking more than likely, we're not gonna have this meeting. I wanted to put it in, like, if they had a discussion and went, whoa, we really need to get some feedback from the full planning board about this, then we have it targeted. I'm not anticipating that, but, you know, I don't know what may come up in their discussions, and if they feel they really need to bring this up and get your feedback, so before they go back and deliberate some more, I wanted to have that earmarked, that's all. Probably won't happen, but it's there in case. Okay? And is there any other business not anticipated? Or people have anything they want to say at 10:24? We done good? Someone want to make a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
All right, Dorinda and
I'll
Is
Raina,
there a
I'll
second? And Raina, I was gonna say what we want, we want to stay and talk some more. Karen, stay on 1 second after when we start signing off, because I want to ask you something. All right, we'll do a roll call vote. Greg
Yes.
and Alan, Genevieve, aye.
Karen O'Neill, yes.
Pat,
Yes.
Renee,
Yes.
Dorinda,
Yes.
Deb, Boomer. Can't hear you, but your lips sort of look like you said yes.
No, I'm unmuted.
There you
Yes.
go. Now I hear you. Bill,
yes.
Steve,
Yes.
Deb, okay,
Yes.
and Cliff,
Yes.
and Raina.
Yes.
And I want to thank you for taking the time and staying with this. We've been doing this for a long time, and there is light at the end of the tunnel, but we still have work to do. So we are adjourning at 7:25, and I thank you all for your participation. And let's go root on the Celtics. When are they? Tomorrow? They're doing well, and the Bruins are doing well.
Bruins, yeah, go
Yeah.
Bruins.
All right, everyone, take care.
Thank you.
Good.
Yeah,
Have a
thank
nice
you.
week.
Thank you.
Thanks.
So, Karen, I had a question for you.
Okay,
Well,
So-
I have to stay on just because I've got to shut the meeting down.
Okay, yeah, this is real quick. So I was at MGM on Saturday, and they announced, they said, Karen O'Neill, called your name to be in a drawing for like $2,000 of free slot play. And I thought, oh, wow, is that the Karen O'Neill that I know? So was it? Because I don't know any
No.
Karen. So
No,
someone,
there's actually one more in the Greenfield area, because when I go to World Eye, I have to make sure I give the right middle initial.
oh, well, maybe it was that person, but I got really excited for you. And I thought, oh, I got to ask you, how much did you win? Because I think,
Who else heard that? That worries me a little bit.
well, the entire place, they
I
announced
know.
it and it went through the entire place. And I went, oh, I hope that's the Karen O'Neill I know. Because the lowest amount that they won, that someone won, they picked 10 people, was $2,500. And I thought, yeah, I bet you could use that. But okay.
Oh, dang. I should be there, huh?
All right. Well, thank you.
Okay,
And I had one other question, Greg. Karen, I'm gonna call you because in the snowstorm, I was involved in an accident, and so I'm gonna appeal it for the insurance purposes.
He hit,
And so the
He hit
police,
the-
re- what?
Sorry, keep going. I was gonna say he
Yeah.
hit Karen O'Neill from Greenfield.
So, so the police report said speed wasn't involved. It was totally weather related. I've got a thing that Orange School closed and so forth. So I want to just talk to you about what to expect when I go to court or the hearing or whatever. So I will touch bases with